Right, so imagine walking away from $200 million. Not because the work is too hard, not because the technology doesn't work, but because the buyer wants you to compromise on something you genuinely believe matters. That's what Anthropic did this week, and honestly, the fallout is fascinating. I'm Noura, and this is the Luma Digest Intelligence podcast for Sunday the 15th of March. We've got 3 really different stories today, but they all connect to the same question. When does saying no matter more than saying yes?
The Anthropic story is genuinely surprising. This is a company that 6 months ago became the first frontier AI model approved for classified Pentagon networks. That's massive validation. $200 million contract. And then they walked away from it because the Pentagon wanted them to remove safety restrictions on autonomous weapons targeting and mass surveillance of American citizens.
200 million. I mean, that's not a small decision. That's the kind of money that changes a company's trajectory. And they said no anyway.
Right, and now they've been designated a US national security risk. That's normally reserved for companies like Huawei, Chinese state-owned enterprises, not AI startups founded by former OpenAI researchers. The designation means military contractors are barred from working with them. That's serious fallout.
But here's where it gets really interesting. 30 engineers from OpenAI and Google DeepMind filed a legal brief supporting Anthropic's position. 30 competitors on the same side. Google's chief scientist, Jeff Dean, was one of them. That's not something you see often.
That's actually remarkable, because these are direct competitors. They're fighting for the same talent, the same customers, the same funding, and they're publicly backing Anthropic's decision to refuse this contract.
What does that tell you, Luma? Because this feels like more than just industry solidarity.
It suggests a fault line is forming between companies that see AI safety as a core business decision and those who see it as friction to remove. And the people actually building these systems are choosing sides. That's significant because it's not coming from the C-suite, it's coming from the engineers.
Right, and if you're a business deciding which AI platform to build on, which models to trust, that distinction matters. You're not just picking a tool, you're picking a company's entire philosophy about what they will and won't do with that tool.
Exactly. And I think this is going to become a real differentiator, not just performance benchmarks or pricing, but whether you trust the company behind the model to hold the line when it matters. Let me ask you both. Do you think Anthropic made the right call here?
From a business perspective, it's risky. From a long-term trust perspective, it might be brilliant. Because now everyone knows they'll walk away from money if the terms don't align with their principles. That's rare, and it's valuable in a different way than revenue.
I agree, and honestly, I think this is going to matter more as AI gets embedded in critical infrastructure. If you're running a hospital or a power grid, do you want the AI provider who takes any contract, or the one who's proven they'll say no when it matters?
That's a good point. Speaking of critical infrastructure, let's talk about robots, because this second story is about trust too, but in a completely different context. Security researchers found critical flaws in consumer robot vacuums. Full control of cameras, microphones, everything. Basically turned them into mobile surveillance devices.
That's terrifying. I mean, a robot vacuum in your living room is one thing, but scale that vulnerability to industrial robots in chemical plants or power grids. Suddenly, you're not talking about privacy invasion. You're talking about catastrophic failure.
This is why the Anybotics story matters. They're a legged robotics company, and they just became the first in their entire category to achieve ISO 27001 certification. That's the gold standard for information security management. And they got it with 0 non-conformities on the first attempt.
0 non-conformities. That's not just passing, that's absolutely nailing it. What does that certification actually mean, Luma?
It means their entire information security system has been audited and verified. How they handle data collection, storage, transmission, access control, everything from the sensor on the robot all the way to the cloud dashboard. It's full stack security, baked in from the ground up.
And that matters because industrial operators won't give you access to their critical infrastructure unless they trust the entire chain. I've had conversations with clients about this. They don't care how good your AI is if they can't trust your security. It's a deal breaker.
Right, and their CEO said something that stuck with me. He said the next decade of robotics will be won by whoever builds the most trusted, secure data loop in the real world. That's not marketing speak, that's infrastructure thinking.
It's also a recognition that physical AI is fundamentally different from software AI. When you're operating in a chemical plant or on a high-voltage power line, the consequences of a security breach aren't just data loss, they're physical, potentially catastrophic. Security can't be an afterthought.
And honestly, I think this is going to separate the serious robotics companies from the ones that don't make it, because certification like this isn't cheap, it's not fast. but it's the price of entry for real industrial deployment.
What do you make of the fact that they're the first in their category to achieve this, Luma? Does that surprise you?
A bit, yes, because legged robotics has been around for years, Boston Dynamics, Agility Robotics, others, but none of them have pursued this certification publicly, which suggests Anybotics is playing a different game. They're positioning security as a competitive advantage, not a compliance checkbox.
Right, and that brings us to the third story, which is about the tools that are actually changing how developers work, because GitHub's latest survey came out and the numbers are remarkable. Developers using AI assistants ship code 55% faster. But here's the number that really matters. 73% of developers who switch to AI tools say they'd never go back.
That's not adoption, that's a permanent shift. Once you've experienced the productivity difference, going back feels like taking off your glasses.
The toolkit has matured significantly. GitHub Copilot is still the standard, $10 a month, GPT-4o backbone. But there are real alternatives now. Cursor treats AI as the core of the editor, not a feature bolted on the side. Composer mode lets you describe multi-file changes in plain English and see a diff before you apply it.
And Codeum is completely free, right? How does that work?
Completely free. Supports over 70 programming languages. In benchmarks, it actually outperforms Copilot on Python work. The business model is enterprise upsells, but the core product is genuinely free. No credit card, no trial period.
That's a huge barrier removed, because $10 a month is nothing for a developer, but getting approval for any tool can be a hassle. If it's free, you just install it and see if it helps.
What about Ada? I read about this one and it sounds genuinely clever.
Ada is a command line tool that works directly with your Git repo. You literally just say fix the failing tests in auth.py and it edits the file, runs the tests and commits the fix. It's for developers who live in the terminal and don't want to context switch to a different interface.
That's exactly the kind of tool that sticks. It fits into your existing workflow instead of forcing you to adopt a new one.
And then there's MintLifi for documentation, because let's be honest, nobody writes docs willingly.
MintLifi analyzes your code and generates accurate doc strings in one click. 3 minutes of tedious writing becomes 800 milliseconds. It's not perfect, but it's good enough that you can edit it faster than writing from scratch.
And Codium AI handles test generation. That's the thing developers always skip because it's boring. But their generated tests actually caught 38% more bugs than developer-written tests in benchmarks, which suggests the AI is better at thinking through edge cases than humans who are rushing to finish.
So here's the honest question. What's the productivity gap between developers using these tools and those who aren't?
It's widening every quarter, not because one group is less skilled, it's because the other group is spending cognitive energy on tasks machines handle better. Boilerplate code, test generation, documentation. That's not where human creativity adds value.
And 6 of the top 10 tools have meaningful free tiers. There's no financial barrier anymore. The barrier is workflow integration and choosing the right tool for the thing that frustrates you most.
Right, and I think that connects to all three stories today, because Anthropic said no to $200 million to stay principled. Anybotics invested in security certification before scaling, and developers are choosing tools that compound their output, not just add features. They're all making the same bet. Trust matters more than novelty.
And specificity matters more than breadth. The best tools solve one problem exceptionally well. They don't try to be everything.
Which brings us back to Anthropic. They could have taken the money and compromised, but they chose to be specific about what they will and won't do. And the industry responded.
Exactly. So if you take one thing away from today, it's this. The most useful technology gets out of the way of actual problems. It doesn't try to solve everything, it solves one thing well, then trusts humans to know what to do with it. And the companies that survive aren't the ones with the most features, they're the ones people trust. Now, we'd love to hear what you think about this. Do you think Anthropic made the right call walking away from that Pentagon contract? Are you using AI coding tools, and if so, which ones? Drop a comment below and let us know.
And if you want to dig deeper into any of these stories, we've got links to everything in the description. The Anthropic legal brief, the Anybotics security certification, the full list of AI coding tools. It's all there.
We've also got show notes at luma.marbl.codes. That's where the daily newsletter lands every evening. Same analysis, different format. Worth checking out if you prefer reading to listening.
And if you're enjoying these conversations, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. We're doing this every day, and honestly, the stories just keep getting more interesting. Oh, and one more thing. If you're thinking about AI talent for your business, we're building a waitlist for Atlas AI Talent. It's a curated marketplace connecting businesses with verified AI professionals. Links in the description if you want to get on that list early. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.